basically come from one strategy to another within 2 months and become funded.
Why would you want to sit on the charts 9 to 5? It just doesn't make sense. And that's what I was doing. Patience is such a key part of trading. And that for me now is dramatically improved since joining.
Hey, Steve, welcome. And thanks for joining me today on the call.
No, it's nice to be here. Thanks for the time.
And as one of our newly funded traders, I wanted to just talk about your story briefly. You've been in trading 4 or 5 years now, and you've been a member of Evolution Markets for about 2 months. Is that right?
Yep. Joined end of March, beginning of April.
And tell me about your story. So we don't need to go all the way back to the beginning, but probably the most recent 12 months before joining Evolution, you were trading like a lower time frame. And just tell me a bit more about how that was, because you have a 9 to 5, you have kids as well. How did that fit in with your lifestyle, and how was your ability to trade while you're at work with the lower timeframes?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been trading for 4 or 5 years. Lower timeframes was tough. Like I said, I was looking at 6 to 7 timeframes every single day, analysing the charts in the morning because I have to get up at 6 in the morning. Took me about an hour to analyse it. Then you miss trades in the morning, especially on Frankfurt or London Open, because you're getting kids ready for school. So I'm not having the time to go down to the lower timeframes. No one has the time to sit there for 15, 20 minutes, staring at 15 candles, looking for your entry. If it doesn't play out, then you're then reanalyzing it. By that time, your kids are late for school, you're late for work. So it just didn't work for me. I was doing it for a considerable amount of time, and the emotional stress and pain on me, because every time I looked at the chart, I couldn't find an entry or I missed an entry. And then you get FOMO and it just spiraled out of control. And it just didn't work for my lifestyle, my busy, hectic lifestyle in the mornings. And then 9 to 5 job on top of that. It's impossible to stare at your chart all day, every day, looking for an entry in a 1 minute. It just wasn't working for me. That's
it. I've said this multiple times before. There's nothing wrong with trading lower timeframes, and you can be consistent doing it, but it has to match your lifestyle. So if you're someone that can literally stare at a screen all day long, or has the ability and the flexibility to do that, and don't mind spending maybe 2, 3, 4 hours a day looking at the charts, then you can do that. But for the majority like yourself who have kids who work a 9 to 5, that are in an office environment 4 days a week, working from home 1 day a week, but when you're in the office, you don't have trading view on a laptop. You have to look from your phone. So trading a lower time frame from a mobile phone screen is not ideal at all. And like you say, if you got your directional bias wrong in the morning and you're looking at your intraday on your phone during the day, you're off to a false start already. So
yeah, especially if the direction of the 1 minute can go up and down so many times. And if you're staring at the 1 minute, you can easily get mixed up and confused in what's going on. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with trading 1 minute, but when you've got limited time, you're rushing, you're making the wrong decisions, and then you're on the wrong side of the market. And then it just causes a world of pain, really.
Yeah. And as soon as you get into that emotional state of mind, it's very difficult to snap out of it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It's almost like you have to just restart and then come back the next day.
Then it happens all over again, and it's just a vicious circle. And yeah, you just get to a point where you actually think to yourself, is trading for me? I've been doing it long enough, so obviously I enjoy it, but you just have to find something that fits in with your lifestyle, really.
Absolutely. And where did you come about finding out about us? Where did you find us? Was it on YouTube? Was it on Instagram? Did someone tell you about us? And why did you jump over to Evolution around April time?
Well, obviously I found you on Instagram. I've been following you for a while, but I didn't really take the plunge because obviously I was with another community beforehand. And I then went on my own for a while to try and see if I could do it on my own, because I knew how to trade. I knew the background and how to work everything out, but I just couldn't do it. And then I kept coming across you. And I remember I spoke to you on Instagram asking you about the power of 2. And I thought, you know what, this sounds interesting. And this is potentially a way for me to change my outlook on trading. And that's when I took the plunge. I was like, okay, the power of 2, there's 2 timeframes. There's not 6 or 7 timeframes that I'm looking at. So straight away, it reduces my time on the charts. And I thought to myself, take the plunge. Why not? I've got nothing else to lose. I've been doing it long enough. There's no more hardship to do if I take another plunge at 2 timeframes instead of 7.
So you were thinking like, one is going to save me time, so I don't have to look at the screen as much throughout the day, especially when you're at work. And then also, because it's a higher time frame, price obviously moves a lot slower. There's a lot less noise, a lot less information to look at. Therefore, you could actually potentially trade from your phone when you've got your 4 hours of directional bias set in the morning, and then maybe a quick glance before New York, but the rest of it's 15-minute, and you can set alerts and you can open orders and cancel them from your phone, MT4, MT5 relatively easily, right? Whereas if you're doing that on the 1 minute or less, by the time you've entered your entry point, candle's already twice the size it was before. So the trade's gone without you, and then you're chasing the market.
Yeah, and so we'll get into this for financial freedom and mainly for freedom. So why would you want to sit on the charts? If you're doing a 9 to 5 and you quit that job, why would you want to sit on the charts 9 to 5? It just doesn't make sense. And that's what I was doing. I was spending or getting involved with the chart more than my actual 9 to 5 job. And it got to the point where I was like, I have to make my 9 to 5 is actually paying me, where trading at that time wasn't paying me, although I was spending more time concentrating on trading than what I was doing working, especially during COVID, because where we was working at home all the time, it was just like looking at the charts 6-7 hours a day, and it just wasn't working for me, because then you're overthinking things. Then that's when FOMO kicks in, and that's when you see your account just spiral out of control.
Yeah. And then, of course, it's like a moment of realization that, one, okay, I really enjoy trading. I can see this as a future, but the strategy that you were using at the time just wasn't fitting with your lifestyle. And it was also a reflection of, okay, I've come into trading for freedom, but I'm spending way too much time than I want to spend looking at the charts. And how did that transition then? So when you joined us around April time, you switched over to the power of 2, higher time frame, only 4 hour and 15-minute. Was that like, did it take you a couple of days, couple of weeks to get used to the strategy?
Not being big-headed, but it took me a few days to get used to it. I think my biggest problem when joining was my patience, because where I've gone from looking at the charts every single minute in theory to then looking at the charts based on 50 minutes, not even going down to the lower time frame. Okay, I did do that at the beginning, but I think patience is such a key part of trading. And that for me now is dramatically improved since joining, because like I said, I don't have to sit there staring at it. You can analyze the market 10-15 minutes in the morning. You can have a quick glance to see if your alert's gone off. If not, wait until New York and you do the same again, and then that's it. So I'm spending a lot less time on the charts now than what I was doing. And I can concentrate on other things, which is the most important part.
And what are you spending that free time with? You've got 2 children, right?
Yeah, 2 children. So I get to spend more time with them in the morning. I'm not stressing in the morning that I'm making sure I've got to get on the charts. The alerts are set. I let the charts do what it needs to do. I can concentrate more at work now. It's just a more relaxed environment now. And to be in a situation I'm in now after a couple of months is just absolutely amazing. And I can't thank you guys enough.
Awesome. That's so good to see. So like initially, like it's changed your day-to-day lifestyle in a positive way. It's reduced any anxiety and stress, FOMO, lack of patience, chasing the markets, and all of that stuff that comes with potentially a lower time frame strategy, or a strategy that just doesn't fit with your lifestyle. You're spending more time focusing at work, which I'm sure your boss is happy about. And also you're spending more time with your kids in the morning, things like having breakfast, getting them to school on time. And like if you're late in the morning, it has a knock-on effect on the rest of the day, doesn't it? So that's really awesome to hear. And not only that, but coming on to the topic of the interview, really the main key thing is that congratulations for becoming a funded trader recently. We talked about this, that you'd done funding challenges and verifications before, but never actually got to the stage where you'd passed both. Whereas June, I remember you messaged me, I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd of June, you messaged me in the morning saying, Scott, verification starts today. And I was like, awesome, Steve, just take your time. And then like 3 hours later, you messaged me saying, I've passed.
Yeah.
The same day. I was like, well done. How does it feel?
I wasn't actually going to trade because it was NFP and I don't really like trading high impact news. But I was sitting there, it was quiet at work, and I thought to myself, right, NFP's done and dusted. Let's look at the market. And I had I had my confluences there, and I was like, you know what? It ticks every single box that I need to take a trade. And I actioned it. And yeah, a couple of hours later, you know, I got what I had to get to receive the verification, and to be able to do that is absolutely insane. It's in the space of 2.5 months I've been with you guys to do challenge and verification and for me, it's with ease. It's not doing it by luck, by taking 10 losses on the 1 minute and then catching that FOMO 1 minute win that goes to 1 to 15. It's consistent profit week in, week out, with a strict confluence is how I entered the trade, like how you guys have showed us. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how much, yeah.
And how was your emotions during that challenge? I mean, naturally, there's going to be some kind of emotion because you want to pass it, right? And did you have a time limit on your challenge?
Yeah, I've got the 30 days. So that was always hanging over my head. And I always thought to myself, can I do this based on the power of 2? And then obviously I've done extensive backtesting on EU and currently going through GU now. And to be in that situation where I thought, you know what, if I don't do it, if I'm still in profit, I get the extension. So it's still, I have to go by the trade plan and my backtesting data that I've got. Mm-hmm. So to be able to do that I think I've done it in 10 days, which is obviously the minimum requirement at the time, was crazy. But I got emotional because I was like, I've done it. But then at the same time, I was like, can I actually do this? Because I've done this 3 or 4 times now. And they always say the challenge is the easy part, but the verification is always the harder part. And I always struggled on the verification, even though you got a much longer period of time to trade. Mm-hmm. Where I've been trading for 4 or 5 years, I needed that now. And with trading the power of 2, that emotion was dramatically decreased because I had the back testing, I had the patience, I knew what I was looking for, and I didn't need to rush into any trades.
Yeah, nice. So you didn't have that lack of patience, that need to rush things. And like you say, you went through the challenge and the verification, just following the trade criteria, which is really mechanical, right? It's really step by step. You know in the morning what your directional bias is, you know if you're buying or selling. And then during the day when your alerts hit, it's either a trade or it's not a trade. Like the criteria is that black and white. And did you do this all just on EU, just on one pair?
No, I've done a mixture of EU and GU.
So 2 pairs, yeah.
EU's my best pair. I've always traded EU. Mm-hmm. But since joining you guys, I've added GU to that mix as well. And yes, the stop loss is a bit bigger, but it's still profitable with the same strategy anyway. So it's a win.
Like you say, you gain that confidence to keep your emotions in check during your challenge and verification, because you'd done so much back testing on that strategy that you knew how each pair behaved. You knew that GU needed a slightly bigger stop loss, but you also knew that over a large enough sample size, your strike rate is probably 50, 60% or more. So you knew to add that in and just to be patient, take your time, trust the process. And at worst case scenario, you'd be break even or profit on the challenge and get a free retry. You didn't even need that. You passed both straight away. So congratulations. So you've basically come from one strategy to another within 2 months and become funded. So that must feel unreal.
It's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong, strategies do work, but like you pointed out before, they have to match your lifestyle. And the 6-7 time frame didn't match my lifestyle. This strategy that I'm doing now 100% matches it. To be in the situation where I've done the challenge and the verification is absolutely insane. I can't believe after all these years that I've done it, the ups and downs, and there's been a lot of downs, trust me, actually come through, because a lot of people would give up. But I saw something in trading. I knew what I wanted, and I kept going. The late nights and the early mornings, in my eyes, are finally paying off.
Yeah, you've got to go through that process. I've said it many times before. The reason it takes trading a number of years is because you've got to find all these different strategies, and you've got to give them enough time. Like 30 days isn't enough for a strategy. Even probably I'd argue 6 months is not long enough to master a strategy. So you've got to go through that process. And if it doesn't fit with your personality or your lifestyle, you then decide, okay, I'm going to have to try something else. Like, am I spending too much time at the charts? Am I too emotional with this? Do I keep making bad decisions? Am I not following my trade plan to a T? Maybe there's too much information or too much screen time needed. And that's what we did with the Power of Two. We reduced the noise. We made it as mechanical as possible. And we allowed people to spend very little time staring at the chart, so that when you're working a 9 to 5 like you do, there's not that rush or need to quit the 9 to 5. Like, how do you feel? Like, do you have any like lack of patience around like binning off the job and becoming a full-time trader? Or are you completely chilled now, going to work and knowing that if your alert goes off on your phone, you can take that trade?
Yeah, there has been times when I wanted to quit my job because this is what I wanted to do. But now I'm funded. For me, there's not an urgency. Yes, I've got my goal set, but at the moment, I don't need to make the rush decision of quitting my job. I need to make sure. I've always said, if I can have what I earn a year in my trading account, so to say, then I'm in a situation to do it. I'm in no need to rush. I've done one of my goals was to be funded, which I've now done. Now I just need to continue that and improve on that. And if it takes me another year to 2 years, which I hope it don't, but if it takes another year to 2 years to get where I want to be, then I can be in a situation to say, I don't need the 9 to 5 anymore. I can then enjoy freedom, what I always wanted all those years ago.
And that's the key. Like, you may or may not want that same 9 to 5 forever, and that's absolutely fine. You got to follow your gut, follow your passion and your interest. You only get one life, so enjoy it. But at the same time, you feel no rush to quit that job because you've got a repeatable mechanical system that works. You're funded, you're consistent and profitable. So you just trust the process. If it takes another year, which it probably won't, but at least you've got that patience now. Whereas before, it sounded like you were miles apart from where you are now emotionally.
Yeah, and it affected my 9 to 5. You could say it even affected my home life, because I was so stressed that I kept chucking money away and it just wasn't working. But my other half, she backed me 100% and knew I could do it. I knew I could do it, but there's always that mindset. And mindset's such a strong part in this industry, because the market can chew you up and spit you out at any opportunity if you don't control your mindset. And I think I've been through that. You've probably been through that, and a lot of other traders have been through that. But it's just coming out of that other end positive, and with a positive attitude, and then looking forward to achieving things that you wanted to. And this strategy has helped.
Awesome to hear. And that's exactly right. Like, the key to success is mindset. Absolutely. Because you're going to come across things that don't work in anything, not just trading, but all sorts of stuff. And you only learn from your losses. It's like if you wanted to be a basketball player and the first 5 years absolutely sucked. But if you really wanted to be a basketball player, you kept turning up and you found a better coach or a better team to play for and kept doing it. Maybe by year 6, year 7, you're in the pro leagues. And it's the same with trading. Like, you go through this journey. We've all been through it. It's great to have that support network. But what's really, truly important is that you believe in yourself and you keep going until you find something that actually works and fits with your lifestyle, something that can actually be sustainable. And then here you are now in a much better position. So it's awesome to see. And I'm really excited to see the next 6 to 12 months, what you can achieve.
Yeah, so am I. And it's a shame that I missed out on the meetup. But definitely next time we have a meetup, then I'll be there 100%. But the future looks bright, I must say, especially now achieving what I have. I just got to keep my head down and just keep doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Next meetup, Birmingham, 22nd of July. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Just around the corner. Just before the end of the call then, what would you say to someone that is struggling? It doesn't matter what time frame they use. It doesn't matter what strategy they trade, whether they're in a community or they're not. What would you say to them if they're feeling really emotional? They're going to work, they're rushing, they're looking at their phone, they're taking losses, they're revenge trading, and they feel like they're giving up. Like, what would you say to them?
I think you just need to look and analyze your life. You need to figure out if that particular strategy that you're doing is fitting around your lifestyle, because if it isn't, you're going to be going around in that circle time and time again. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with trading the 1 minute. There is nothing wrong with it at all. But if you're struggling emotionally and you can't get what you need to, then up a few time frames. Do what I've done. Come and join you guys. The Power of Two works for me. It will work for them as well. You just have to have that mindset. You have to have the patience. and maybe come off live, maybe do demos, see how that goes. But trading works. If you find that right strategy that fits your lifestyle, it's a complete game changer, 100%. But don't give up on trading.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Take Steve's advice, guys, watching this, and don't give up. Just keep trying things that fit. Doesn't matter how long it takes. But it's been great having you on, Steve. And yeah, we'll enjoy the rest of our week. And hopefully I'll see you in the in-person meetup in Birmingham on the 22nd of July.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for having me.
See you then.
All right, see ya.